This is why buying property and adding value is the smartest thing you can do. Hey, what's up guys? Hope you're all well. So I am doing a video all about why buying property and adding value is the single most smartest thing you can do. And when I say you, I mean absolutely everyone. This isn't just for property investors and developers. This is for everyone sitting at home watching this video. It doesn't matter if you're living at home with your parents, you're renting a one-bedroom flat, you're a house sharing in a HMO, or you already own your own home, or you own a buy-to-let portfolio. This video is going to resonate with you no matter where you are on the scale. But the key message that I want to put across is why buying property and adding value is the smartest thing you can do. And the reason why this has come to me recently is because a lot of the people, a lot of the circles that I socialize in or do business in are really obsessed with how much they earn. And someone did ask me not very long ago how much I earn in a year, and I couldn't tell them. I didn't really know. I had to check my personal tax return that the accountant had done for me because I had really no idea. And the reason because I had no idea is because I measure my wealth and how I earn money in a far different way. And it is, you've guessed it, a far more tax efficient way. And I believe the cleverest way to increase how much you earn, and we put it in inverted commas, because it isn't necessarily how much you get paid in your personal bank account that you can spend. It's about how much revenue, profit, equity, whatever you want to call it, that your actions achieve every single year. And I know a lot of this will be heavily debated. A lot of people say, well, you earn a figure and that is a really simple figure. It is what you pay yourself and what you have to spend. I'm a massive believer in it isn't what you earn, it's what you keep. And you don't necessarily need to earn a huge amount if you don't have a lot of outgoings and if you've managed to build wealth where it reduces your outgoings massively. Therefore, you can still earn a huge amount of money, but you don't pay tax on that massive sum. So earning money or being paid a salary or being obsessed with how much you earn a year is actually a really foolish way of trying to measure your success or measure your growth. And how I really like to do it, and what I believe is the cleverest form of focusing on generating income, wealth, equity, measurement of time, whatever you want to call it, is buying property and adding value. But as ever, before we get started, I just need you all to do me a huge favor, and that is to smash the like button and don't forget to hit subscribe. So let's get straight into this one. So you can earn anything from a few £100s per month up to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds every single month. But those of you who earn that amount of money and have it paid into your personal bank account, and what is left after you pay your tax or you pay your national insurance is what you have to spend. Now, what you have to spend, and I am doing another video about this, is if you just spend what you have, it doesn't matter how much money you earn, you're never going to have more money because you always spend what you earn if that is your mentality. The first thing that I think everyone needs to do is to work on reducing their expenses. Now, I can be a little bit of a hypocrite here because I do have quite large expenses, but I try and control what I can control. Things like tuition fees, can't control them. I control what I spend on a mortgage, absolutely. So it's literally controlling what you can control. Can I control how much I spend on going out drinking? Yes. Do I go out for meals a lot every single week? Yes. So it's about not just tightening your belt and not spending a penny, but understanding where you can have the luxuries, where you want to spend your money, and trying to get the most in return for that. I'd much rather go out for a meal with my family 10, 12 times a week, as opposed to one big night out with friends and splash the same amount of cash on that one night. So it's horses for courses. But this video isn't about how you spend your money. This is about how you measure your income, or more importantly, how much you've generated and earned in a single year. And when I was asked this week and I found out, and it was a low figure, under 100,000 a year, people looked at me with shock. And the reality is because I don't need to earn a huge amount of money. But if you look at the amount of money my company earns and the expenses it has, or should I say doesn't have, then the profit it generates is substantial. And it's more substantial, way more substantial than I need to and that I do pay myself. And this is why I think I have stumbled across the most efficient, cleverest way you should focus on earning income. And this isn't my idea. This actually didn't come to me. It was a friend of mine who's a bit older than me, who used to go to the same gym as me, and he's also involved in property. And he and I have become pretty good friends, and we would always talk in the gym about deals, about property, what he's got going on, what I've got going on. And it was when he said to me, yeah, I've had a pretty good year. I've generated about £500,000 in equity. I looked at equity in a far different way, because I just always saw equity as a contribution to your net balance sheet, which raised your net worth up and increased your overall wealth. But my friend looked at the net equity that he created over the year as a measure of how much he earned in a single year. And I really got this, because you spend a lot of time buying properties, adding value. And when you've added that value, you can refinance and clear any cost that it's cost you to generate that project. And what is left is an equity figure. Now, that equity is only really realized when you sell the property or if you refinance further on, but it's still there as a measurable, tangible asset value. And a lot of people look at that value and they work out how much income the property does generate, and that's how they maybe work out the return on the investment still left in and all of those things. But the way he and I discussed this was, if you were a very successful individual who earned a lot of money through a very good job or a very good business, and you earn, let's say, £500,000 a year, or let's say you earn even more than that and your net income was £500,000 a year after you've paid your tax and your national insurance and all the other contributions that are nicked out of your pay slip straight away, what would you then do with that money? Yes, of course, you have to live. Yes, you want to buy some nice treats. But let's say all of that is said and done. You take that money, what do you do with it? It sits in the bank, earning no interest, actually reducing in value as inflation increases. So you put that into some form of investment. Now, when you put that into an investment, and it could be stocks, bonds, shares, Forex, cryptocurrency, it doesn't matter. But when you put it in there, it sits there and hopefully it goes up in value and it generates income. Now, take that same strategy and apply it to property. Well, when you buy a property where you haven't added any value, the money that you've used is the equity in the deal. So that equity is always going to be there. And you measure the performance of that investment by how much it goes up by and how much income it generates. Well, when you step back and you look at what we do, which is adding value to property and generating and creating large amounts of equity, that is the exact same measure you should take to how much you've generated, earned in a single year. But the beauty is that you've done it on the gross figure, not the net figure. You haven't had to go out and earn 800,000 and pay 300,000 in tax and national insurance and any other deductions to get basically £500,000 to chuck into the equity of a deal. You've created that through savvy, entrepreneurial and specific strategy investing. You've bought something, you've added value, you've created value, you've built it from the ground up, you've converted it, split it into multiple dwellings, it doesn't matter. You've taken all of the money out it's cost you to do the deal, so it owes you nothing. And the equity is the same amount that it would cost someone like our business owner, like our very successful individually employed person, to buy that project and sit there earning any more capital appreciation and income. And that is why property investing or buying and adding value is the savviest, is the smartest thing that you can do to measure your wealth, your income, how much you generate, along with all of the other things, the profit from selling properties, the net income from rental properties, and anything else that you do property related. It might be money from underwriting, it might be fees for managing properties, it doesn't matter. Everything contributes towards that income, that annual income for you, your company, or however you measure it in whatever entity. And if you only own 50% of the company, then it's 50% of the equity, 50% of the net income. If you own 100%, it's 100%. It's all measurable on the facts and figures and the numbers and how much you own. And when you get your head around that, it then becomes very, very easy to not earn or generate a few £100,000 a year. We're talking about millions of pounds every year. So when I was asked the question and I checked my personal income tax and I said, well, this is what my accountant declared for me last year. You have ways of generating money through selling assets and capital gains and all of these other things, which doesn't always contribute towards your declared personal income. And when you add it all together, the figures are really scary. I mean, they're massive. And this is what I think property people should be focusing on. And if you're not a property person and you are really, really eager to start generating huge amounts of wealth and income, this is where I think you need to be focusing on. Because even though you can't go and spend the equity in a property, if you wanted to, you could sell that property. So it's as easy as literally selling an asset and materializing the equity to cash to materialize that to something more tangible and liquid to spend. But the effort, the time it takes to generate these very, very large numbers is very minimal. So when you look at the pound for pound time exchange for money, if you can measure this on this sort of scale, the pound per hour, the rate per day is just incredible. And then you are only limited by how much time, stress, grief, and as big as the projects you want to take on. Now, I have learned sort of all the way around in a 360-degree circle that the bigger deals do not always necessarily mean the biggest profit. And all you have to do is look at your local competition, the local copycats and the local wannabes who literally are trying to do the sexy thing, do the biggest project they can get their hands on, and how quickly those projects fall into negative equity, loss making, or even are repossessed. So it doesn't earn you anything. I'd much rather have a far simpler life where I can do the deals that I want to do with the builders that I want to use in the areas that I can literally fall out of my bed into my car and be within about 10 minutes. And then you will find that these properties are so quick and easy to turn around. You can do more of them without actually adding a huge amount of workload, which I mentioned on the last video. And that way, these properties where they're generating 150, 250, 300, 500 grand of net equity each project, when you're doing 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10 of these a year, we're talking about some pretty impressive numbers for one person who owns all the shares in one or if not a group of companies, which is something really to step back and think about. And then remember, when we do each one of these projects, we're also adding to our income through the rental. So we are increasing the monthly revenue, the monthly turnover, and the monthly gross and net profit. And because it's in a corporate entity or another structure that I've talked about previously, it doesn't always increase your tax liability. That only happens when you take the money out personally. So you should be focusing on generating as much business as you can through your corporate entities, but equally reducing the costs where you can in your personal name and controlling the controllables. You can't really convince your wife if she likes going out to eat lots of times every single week. That's a battle you're probably not going to win. But what you can do is you can reduce some of your largest expenditures. Things like a mortgage, things like personal debt. All of those things are really and simply easy to control and reduce down to nothing. which gives you more liquid cash, which means you have more to play with, or you can afford to pay yourself a little bit less and pay even lower amounts in tax, if not zero altogether. So look, I hope you found that useful. I really like this subject. This is a really great topic to discuss, and I love chatting about it. So if you've got any questions about this, feel free to leave me a comment below and I'll try and respond to you. And if not, feel free to ping me a DM on Instagram. But look, that's it from me. Hope you found the content rich. I'll catch you all on the next video.